Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So earlier this week we had our feature match, which was Hexablaumon versus Purple Good Stuff. We already covered the Hexablaumon deck profile on Wednesday, so today we're going to be going over just pure purple good stuff. I was inspired by a deck that I saw that topped recently that was a Lilith Loop deck, but it wasn't the Lilith Loop part that really just got my gears going on this deck. It was that they didn't play more than 3 copies of anything. There was no maximized copies of anything, and it just kind of was like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, I like the diversity that I'm seeing here. And then I just kind of took that and then I just kind of reapplied it to in a couple of different ways. I've maximized out stuff on this deck, but I'm pretty excited for this. It's just taken back to what we really enjoyed about Purple in BT4, and this is just kind of taking a couple of the BT5 cards that are really good and just adding it into the mix. Don't forget, our memory marker for this month is Tanamon, so if you're playing green OTK, or anything like that, or you're going to be playing green next format, and you want to get a very unique memory marker that's different from what everyone else has, definitely check these out for our Patreon reward for August. This is just super cute, handmade out of clay by my wife. So if you want one of these guys, check them out in the link description below for our Patreon. Okay, so jumping right into it, of course, we're running Demimeramon. This is the best, hands down. I'm pretty positive on as a generic purple Digitama. For our eggs here, just on anything that gets deleted on top of it gets draw 1, discard 1. And in purple is typically a slower strategy, and that's because it often needs to draw into a lot of combo pieces. So being able to draw into what we need, and it really just applies to everything. I've only got the 4 listed here, but like I said, purple is rather slow. So if you want a 5th egg, it's basically just kind of whatever you want. A lot of what we're doing here is going to get Digibursted away anyway if you don't utilize it like you should. So just kind of keep that in mind as well. Next up, we got Gabumon, who is also just a hardcore staple in purple in general. Just kind of like just a super version of Demimeramon, where you get to draw 2 and trash 1. Just again helps us draw into our combo pieces. Pretty much these two are pretty much staples, I would say, in every purple deck, no matter what. Even if you're digibursting away most of your inheritables pretty often, I still think that these guys are still really good, just because you can either go a blocker on top of them, and when the blocker dies, inevitably, you're going to get those inheritable draws off these guys, or if you go on the offensive with like a Devimon to go offensively to get that retaliation trigger. Both of these guys are great for either of those setups, which is a lot of the level 4s that we're playing. Okay, next up we got Tapirmon here. Tapirmon making a comeback. I am running Anubismon as our secondary mega in the deck, and I really like Tapirmon for that. The alternative is Labramon to this. I think a Labramon is very much just like the alter ego of Tapirmon, just that immediately on play you get to get that draw 1, discard 1. In this deck, we're not really trying to fuel the trash as much as we are in other purple strategies, so I'm less worried about the whole discarding factor, and I just want my draw effect and without having to get rid of something, and so Tapirmon kind of does that. Could you run both? Absolutely you could. And both apply really well when using with Anubismon. Either way, with Anubis, you're probably going to get your value either way. So, went ahead and maximized on this just for that really good draw power. And again, really good with Anubismon. Next, we've got Drachmon here. Yes, Drachmon actually coming into a deck before BT6. In BT6, as some of you may know, Drachmon is pretty popular just because it gets used in the Musketeers deck. So bring back all your 7-cost purple option cards in that deck. He's really great for grabbing those back. So we are playing a lot of 7-cost options in this deck, because we are running, as the thumbnail showed, we are running the Metal Garurumon for Digiburst 2 to play a free option. So 7-cost options are pretty abundant in this deck. Not like overly so, but there are several to choose from. So Dracmon really good for that, for our on-play target. The ratio on him, honestly, he could be even one less, very comfortably be one less, because you don't want to see this early game. This is very much a mid to late game to get this guy onto field to hard play him. However, that said, you can just Digivolve over him, and then later on, like with Anubismon, just bring him back and immediately get his on-play effect. Or if you go Zwart, and if you want to bring him back with Zwart, you know, the option is there. Next, we got Gazimon here, and Gazimon, I've been harping on him every video, but anytime you can play a memory blocker in any deck that has them, absolutely do it. If you're playing in any kind of like meta environment, looking at yellow, you're going to be turning off stuff like Patamon. Those that are running the Patamon and like the /Angemon builds, that is very important. Turning off the Blinding Ray. Blinding Ray is a killer, okay? Just putting your opponent to 1, and then they Blinding Ray, go up to 3, bring out the Lord Nightmon, swing with the Lord Nightmon, drop a Nightmon to kill some of your stuff. It's brutal, okay? They drop Bushi Agumons. You know, like, the possibilities of their combos are insane. So, being able to shut that down is super important. Shutting down Lilith Loop. I mean, Lilithmon in general. You know, turning Lilithmon off. Turning off the Jack Raids. You know, all of that. Getting rid of all that. Swing into security. And they reveal a Jack Raid. Turn that off. Looking at blue. Hammer Spark. Goodbye. Hammer Spark and security. Don't care. Memory blockers are good, okay? There's so much in the game now that gives memory, and they are getting better and better and more prominent. You see, this is up to a 3 count instead of just a 2 count like he is in the past. That's because just both of the main decks being played right now are both very, very memory-hungry decks and love to get free memory. Next up, we got Devimon. This is our 1-cost Evo. Part of this deck is we're just trying to get into our Megas pretty quickly. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We're trying to get into Megas fairly efficiently. So we've got the Devimon here for that 1-cost Evo is probably the main focus of it. The fact that he's also a blocker on the side, cool, awesome. That works. If you look at Meramon is also 5,000. So he's not like, not Grizzlymon, the other Gorillamon. He's not like Gorillamon. He doesn't have that 6K, okay? So just keep that in mind. Meramon isn't any better than Devimon. Devimon is 100% a better target. 6 play cost versus 5 play cost. You're not going to hard play a Meramon either, okay? There's just no way. So having that blocker is just so much more important. So yeah, stick with the 4 of Devimon over the Meramon if it's just an argument between these two. Next we do have the Vilemons here. Vilemon is going to be just at a 3 of here. Sometimes I run it as like a full like 8 blockers. I feel like that's a little less important in this deck. We did take it down. You could even take it down a little further and bump the Meramon up. Because like I said, we're trying to get into Megas relatively fast. Okay, we're not trying to stall, fill up our trash or anything like that. No. We're just trying to get super aggressive, get up into our Megas, and then start doing things. But Vilemon, just that 6K DP is just really solid. Because if you go against something like Yellow is going to either use their War Groundmon to Digiburst minus 4K on you, right? And then if something like the opponent swings and then they activate like their egg that minuses 1,000, that's a dead 5K right there. Instantly, the blocker doesn't even get a chance to do anything. So that 6K is actually pretty important because it's relatively easy for Yellow to do minus 5,000, you know, if they're going to go on the offensive and swing. So just another reason to have 6K here. Next, we do have the Meramon here. Why do I have the Meramon at a 2 of and not maxed out? Well, that's because we're running 2 more level 4s. I want the Devimon, okay? I like the offensive power to go on the offensive with a level 4 with that retaliation. There's just so many times that you just need to delete something, whatever mega is left suspended, and Devimon is absolutely the perfect thing to go into. Now, I do have it as just a 2 of, okay? And I'm pretty comfortable with that because I was running at a 4 of, and I felt like a 4 of was just a little too much, a little just too over the top. Now, you could bump it up to 3 and the Vilemon down to 2, you know, if you want to swap their ratios. You know, that's completely doable. So I just like the offensive removal as well as another way to trigger our draw effects right over here. So I just don't like cutting the Devimon. I know some people have just completely gone away from Devimon and have just stuck to basically these three. We get the 4 Devimon, the 4 Meramon, and the 3 Vilemon. But I like cutting down the Meramon just a little bit to add in the Devimon. It's just a good side card to have. Like I said, one of the things that really spoke to me on that deck profile was the fact that they just had so much abundance of side cards, right? They weren't maximizing out really at all on most of their stuff in their deck. They just had, 2s and 3 of a lot of cards, and I like that that concept. Next up, we got our level 5s here. LadyDevimon, still super good. Just draw 2, essentially draw 3, trash 2, 3 cost evolution, pretty standard here. Also, this inheritable is actually very, very live in this deck because we play a abundance amount of options. We play a lot of options for free in this deck. So you can get this very, very easily triggered every turn, okay? So just being able to pop any kind of rookie on field is great, especially if they have like a memory blocker on field and you play an option and pop that memory blocker, before whatever. This deck doesn't really have any memory gaining abilities, but just LadyDevimon in general, just really good for that kind of stuff. Just a great card to have, honestly. I actually went ahead and bumped her up to 3, and Black War Groundmon is actually down to 2, believe it or not, just because his effect is Digiburst 3, and when you do that, you take away the inheritables. So if you go Metal Garurumon on top of Black War Groundmon and you've used this ability, it just doesn't get you anything with Black or with Metal Garurumon. So he does not combo with Metal Garurumon at all. Even like the inheritable here isn't necessarily what you want to do with Metal Garurumon. So, yeah, but he is still good, okay? So, you can still use this in conjunction with, like, a Nubismon. You can still, say you go into a Zwart, eventually this effect will be really, really good with Zwart to allow Zwart multiple swings, things like that. But bringing it back here, I went with the Myotismon. The 2-cost Evo is why we're here. Vanilla 2-cost Evo on a level 5. We like to go fast, okay? We like to get into our Megas fast, and Vanillas is how we get there. Back in the day, we used to maximize out a little bit more on these guys. I did bring it down a little bit just to fit in the Black War Groundmon, though. But I am running the Myotismon instead of the Skullmeramon just because of this 7,000 DP. If they want to drop Myotismon, they've got to really want it. They've got to do 2 minus 4,000s, essentially, for to pop this guy, and I think that's just the way better call to go with Myotismon over Skullmeramon. And it's only 1 more play cost. Honestly, that's not that big a deal. There's definitely worse alternatives to Vanillas that are in the game that are like 7, 8 play cost for not very much extra. Myotismon is a very, very solid pick. All right, next up is our big boys of the deck here. I've got the Anubismon at 3 and the Metal Garurumon at 3. Both of them very evened out. I didn't want to go overboard with the Metal Garurumon. I like just the diversity. The Metal Garurumon is good, but only if you have the options in hand. If you don't have the options in hand, he loses so much value. Whereas the Anubismon, you just need something in trash. You just need anything in 1 rookie in trash, and which is going to be super easy. By the time you get to a level 6, you should probably have a rookie in trash. More than likely you will. So getting value off the Anubismon immediately is super easy. Both of these are 3 Evo cost. Nice to see the 3 Evo cost here on our Megas. It combos great with a Memory Fixer, so of course we're going to play the Matt here. I have him at 2 copies. I kind of want to have him at 3, but, once you get 1 out, you're pretty solid, and you don't really want to play a second one. You can if you really desperately need to, but more often than not, 1 is going to cover you. So I'm okay with the 2. I really am. So, but that 3 Evo cost on a lot of this stuff, you got to have a Memory Fixer for sure. So yeah, these guys are just really great. Metal Garurumon, just getting that. This is part of the reason to build this deck. It's just purple good stuff. Metal Garurumon is a phenomenal card. Just think about this card in any deck. You just get to play anything, any option that's 7 or less. You just get to play for free, and you can do that twice in a row in 1 turn. That's 14 memory worth of cards that you just get to play for free and still just do stuff afterwards. Yeah, I really like it. So sticking with the 3 of here as well. We don't want to go less than that because we have a decent amount of options that we need to be able to play for free. But we don't want to go more than that just because, he doesn't do much else after that. Next, we got the Zorts in here, and both of these guys are kind of, they do their thing once during their turn, and after that they just kind of sit there. If you can't find more ways to get Anubismon to bring stuff back from the trash, then Anubismon just isn't going to be much good after its first Evo. So going on top of either of these after they've done their thing is totally fine. So we don't mind it at all. And as well as when we can just reset them back to hand to just Digivolve them back on top of level 5s to get their abilities again. Particularly the Anubismon, even more so because Zwart can bring back our level 5s when we Digivolve into him. And then so return the Anubismon to hand and just immediately go Anubismon on top of one of those level 5s. Really good stuff. So immediately get that rookie back again with Rush. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. It's a really nice package here. It all just works together. That's what I like about this deck is it all just flows. Okay, it all just works. You don't need any crazy specific combos to do anything. You just Digivolve into some good stuff, and it just does its cool stuff, and then you just move on. There's not any kind of like overall like crazy, I've got to get this very specific stack or whatever, I've got to have this pre-setup of all these abilities or my trash has to be pre-set up just perfectly. Not really. No, you just do stuff. You clear your opponent's stuff, you control your opponent, and you just throw things into security. Lots of rookies, that sort of thing. And it does what it does. All right, and then our last little bit here is our options. You notice we've only got we're not maximizing out on anything. We just have a nice broad spread of some stuff here. Now, the Hell's Gate and Trump Sword, I'm going to say these are interchangeable. Okay, you're going to run one or the other. I really like Hell's Gate now more than Trump Sword just because Hell's Gate, it can be suspended. When are you going to be using a Trump Sword? The only time you're most likely using a Trump Sword is on a Mega. You don't really want to waste a Trump Sword on like a level 5, more than likely. Now, if you get to play Trump Sword for free, you might be a little bit more inclined to pop something lesser, but most of the time, you're saving your Trump Swords for needing a Trump card, okay? And you need to be able to clear a big Mega off the field. So if that's the case, I'd rather just have Hell's Gate just because most of the stuff that we need to pop is going to be suspended because they already swung with it, okay? Whether that be anything with Blitz from red or if it's yellow, they're going to be swinging with that Lord Nightmon because they need to attack with Lord Nightmon to get its abilities off. So it's going to be suspended. So Hell's Gate, definitely probably my preferred over the Trump Sword. We got the Nailbone here. Nailbone's still just solid. I mean, there's not really much else to say. If you can get both Anubismon and Metal Garurumon on field at the same time and use Metal Garurumon to use like 2 Nailbones, or even if you just use Nailbone once, bring the stuff back, swing with it with Rush, it dies, use a second Nailbone, bring that same stuff that just died back a second time to swing again. Yeah, Nailbone's really good when you can get both of these on field. Now, it's still good either way. If you're just playing it hard cast or with Metal Garurumon, anytime you get to play, a 3 and a 4 for free is just really good. Also, you don't get any on-play effects with this one, which is kind of one of the reasons that I like the Tapirmon a little bit more because we don't get that on-play with the Labramon with Nailbone. But Tapirmon, he just has to die some way or another, whether your opponent kills him or you crash with him, whatever. Or even if you pop him, like with Black War Groundmon, he's just a little bit easier to get his abilities off, I would say. Also, nice security effect. No one ever talks about Nailbone's security effect, but it is super good. I mean, you just get to play a level 4 or lower from your trash, which is usually going to be a blocker. If this is getting hit in security, it's because you're about to die and you need a blocker on field. So yeah, this is a great card to hit in security to help keep you alive because you can bring back a blocker with it. And then we got the Jack Raids. Jack Raids just such a good card. We've only got it to 2 of here. I don't need anything too crazy. No higher count than that. Like I said, we're not filling up the trash insanely fast, so I don't want to see this card in like the first half of the game, right? It's a good mid to late card, so any kind of good mid to late card I like to keep down to 2. And that's what Jack Raid is here for. Like, same with these guys. You know, keep them at 2 because, you know, these aren't going to be applicable, 1, until you have stuff in trash to target with, or B, you need megas on field to be able to pop. So getting these cards in, like, the first 2-3 turns isn't going to do you any good. So keeping the counts low here on these guys. And also, Jack Raid hitting in security is a great card to have in security, just because, you know, typically you're going to pass the turn back to you. Also, Jack Raid is great in combination with Lady Devi. Play the Jack Raid for free, even if you don't need to gain back memory, and you can still just get LadyDevimon's ability to pop something. So a free pop with LadyDevimon for a 0 cost. That's pretty solid. I can't complain. Even if you're not going to gain the memory, it's still not a bad choice, you know, depending on the situation. And then our last 2 were just kind of cards I wanted to just kind of briefly mention that you could play instead of stuff. Like the Trump Sword is in place of the Hell's Gate, so I would prefer the Hell's Gate personally. Labramon, we talked about Labramon. You know, it can definitely fit in here very easily. You know, if you want to drop the Dracomons completely or just down a little bit, you know, you can get a 1 or a 7 cost. And if you're just kind of looking at what we're running here, the Nailbone is a 7 cost. If you want to run the Trump Sword, that's a 7 cost. But if you want to run Hell's Gate, then you might debate dropping the Dracmons for either a vanilla or one of these guys down here, which is going to be the Labramon for that on play, because you do need rookies that you can just hard play, right? The point of the Dracomon is to hard play it to get an effect off. Same with Labramon. You need a target. You need a rookie that you can hard play, and Labramon is a good choice for hard playing rookies. Same with a vanilla. Vanilla's that being a 2 cost play. That's a great choice for just hard playing a rookie. But also, don't forget about Sukaimon. Sukaimon's still amazing. On deletion, gain 1 memory. When is that not amazing? You put that on a blocker and you block your opponent's stuff, and it passes the turn back to you. That's going to keep them from wanting to attack. If they know if they attack, they have to pass their turn. That's like no one ever attacks with a blocker because they don't want to pass the turn. It's the same concept. They don't want to attack because your opponent has a blocker, you know, that's going to pass it when the blocker dies. It's just really great stuff. Also, use it in combination with like a Devimon. Go on the offensive here. Swing with the Devimon. Gain that memory back. You know, every little bit helps for sure. Now, it is an inheritable though, and so if you're digibursting away your inheritables, like for a Metal Garurumon, you know, you might lose that factor. So just kind of keep that in mind. I try not to go too terribly heavy on the inheritables when I can, if I'm running Metal Garurumon, just because all the digibursting. Even if I was maximizing on the Black War Groundmon, I get a little cautious on how much inheritable rookies I play. But hey, he's still at least worth looking at, just because his universal use is so, like, you know, pretty high up there. All right, and that's going to do it for the deck. Just went ahead and zoomed out, so if anyone wants to skip to the end and just look at it, here it is in its complete. If you want me to explain anything of why I chose these random crazy choices, go back and watch the videos instead of just asking about it. I'll explain anything in here. I completely explained it, so just keep this in mind right here in case this is really, really freaking you out. I would play one or the other, okay? At 3 of, play either this at 3 or this at 3. The Dracmon's really good if you're going to be playing Trump Sword instead of Hell's Gate. Like, that's the only, like, caveat I'll explain right now. Anything else, go back and watch the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you would, please like the video and subscribe. Just a little bit of help goes a super long ways. It helps the channel out tremendously, gets my videos out there, gets them seen. And if you really, really want to support the channel, check out the links in the description below. I'll have a link for my Patreon, which is displayed right here. You can get access to my Discord server that I have, as well as you can get the memory markers that we've had. These are just a few of my favorites from the past that we've had. The current one, Impmon's baby, as well as Gabumon's baby as well, Sunomon and Yamon. These guys are super adorable. I definitely love them so much. And every month a new one changes out, so make sure you check that out. As well as we have our new playmats. This is why I recreated this video. It's because our playmats are here finally, and they are super cool. I alternate between the black and white every single month for whoever wants to support this tier, as well as I have a tier just higher than that, so that way you don't also have to lose out on a memory marker. You can get both the memory marker and the playmat just in case you want both. Super awesome support from everyone that has supported in the past and who will support in the future. You guys are awesome. Also, if you want to check out my merch, my Teespring link is in the description below for that. We've got, you know, the shirts that I wear on the channel that has the logo across. I love when I see people representing my merch in public. It is like one of the coolest feelings I've ever had in my entire life. Very, very awesome. As well as phone cases for you people that love Digimon like so much like I do. A friend of mine custom made all these to fit these specific phone cases themselves, so the prices are a little bit higher just because I have to pay her back, as well as make a little tiny bit of profit because of how much unfortunately they take for their cut for Teespring. But like I said, if you can't do any of that, please just like the video and subscribe to the channel. Every time we hit a new mile marker for subscriptions, I give out free merch of all different types. 2000K, I think we're doing one of the playmat giveaways, so definitely be subscribed and ready for when that comes.